Agus, we talked about this. You promised you'd do the dishes, vacuum the house while I was at work. You haven't done anything. Have you really just been sitting here playing video games all day? Oh, jeez, dude. I was so busy today. I totally forgot, man. That's my bad. But I also made cereal, so I didn't just do this, Dude, I really can't keep this dynamic we have going. You gotta get it together, man. Whoa, hey. What's dynamite gotta do with it? Don't blow me up, man. In a show, when there's two people, they're the main characters, it shapes how they interact with each other, what the whole show's about, basically. No, I don't really understand. Could you, explain a little bit more, maybe? Well, in a buddy sitcom, there's always going to be two people who are friends getting into some kind of wacky hijinks. And the dynamic they have forms the heart of the show, making it the most important aspect of the show. There's certain aspects of a dynamic that we as the audience expect to see. Most important one being the two characters have to approach and view any given situation they're in differently. If we watch a show and both characters have the same reaction to a situation and deal with it in the same way, that's boring, and we're going to stop watching. So then, once this baseline is covered, what makes it dynamic? Well, there's some commonalities between shows. For example, usually one of the two is a bit more childish or dumber than the other. Their childlike wonder/idiocy often contrasts with their friend's more stern or cynical view of the world. A perfect example of this would be from the show Smiling Friends.
Help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. He's obviously made up his mind. Why don't we just cut our losses and get out of here?
Oh, come on. That's nonsense, Charlie. We've never given up on the job so far.
Here we can see how differently the two characters view the world. Charlie the cynic and Pim the optimist. For bonus points, occasionally the characters' reactions can be switched up from what the viewer might typically expect. Later in that same episode, we see Pim go into a complete state of shock and freeze up for the rest of the episode, ending with him in this state. While at the same time, we see Charlie laughing and smiling. It's good to throw off the audience every now and then. It both creates humor and keeps them guessing. Another example of this clash of the childish and the cynical character can be seen in this scene from Peep Show.
Hey, where's the turkey?
I thought you were getting the turkey.
You what? No turkey? You fucking idiot, Jeremy! You total fucking idiot! That was your job, you fucking moron! You cretin! You're a fuckhead! That's what you are! A fucking shithead!
It was a joke, Mark. I was joking. It was a Christmas joke.
Oh, I see.
This is also a good way to showcase the tone of the overall show. Peep Show is very cynical, while Smiling Friends is a relatively optimistic show. Both of these are perfectly on display in their respective clips. Pim and Charlie are very amicable to each other, and Charlie seems concerned for the potential safety of both him and Pim. Meanwhile, in Peep Show, it's obvious from the way that Mark reacts he doesn't like Jez at all. Maybe all these years of being his roommate, and him getting the two into trouble, have worn him down, and all that hatred he's let stew for so long has finally come to the surface. The second most important part of establishing a dynamic between two characters is why they interact with each other, mainly because it gives a believable explanation as to why the two characters are always around each other. There are a lot of ways this can be done, but the two I'd like to focus on are making the characters roommates and making them coworkers. Let's go over the benefits and drawbacks of each of these. For the coworker dynamic, you can look at Smiling Friends. Every episode involves Pim and Charlie working, even in the episode Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty. The only reason the two have to solve the murder is because the police department has moved murder investigations to the Smiling Friends company due to budget cuts. This approach to the dynamic can be very beneficial as stated previously. It creates a realistic reason for the two characters to always be with each other. It can also help to create a solid supporting cast through coworkers and bosses. And the workplace environment can be the jumping off point for a variety of stories. But it also has its downsides. Eventually the show will want to tell stories outside of what can be reasonably expected to occur in a workplace environment. And it's sometimes possible to find ways around this, such as the previously mentioned Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty, or the episode The Smiling Friends Go to Brazil. But all this requires the show to establish another dimension to the characters' relationship, which might not be particularly hard, but it's an extra step that has to be taken. The second method is to make the characters roommates. This method has fewer restrictions, as it gives the characters an excuse to always be around each other, and go on any kind of adventure together, and a much closer dynamic is more believable compared to the coworker method, but it also has its drawbacks, mainly that it's harder to introduce supporting cast. Peep Show chooses to have most of its supporting cast come from either people Jez or Mark are dating, such as Dobby, Sophie, or Big Suze, or from people that they work with, such as Mark's boss Johnson, or Jez's bandmate/occasional business partner Superhans.
Superhands doesn't even look like a pub.
Exactly. I've been down enough bloody city boy chain pubs with their logos in the foam and disinfectant in the lager, air freshener in the mayo. Nah, I want to run a place that makes a difference.
Regular Show chooses to use both of these methods. Mordecai and Rigby both work and share a room at the park. This allows the best of each method to shine through. We get a strong supporting cast, and also get plenty of adventures from the two outside of their jobs. Regular Show also leads to the next factor, which is the supporting cast. The supporting cast member that's the most important to the duo is the mean boss archetype. The mean boss is the character who usually holds some kind of power over one or both of the duo, and intends to punish them in some way if they mess up. Benson is the prime example of this archetype. He's quick to anger, constantly mad at Mordecai and Rigby, and in the early seasons he usually takes a more antagonistic role. Peep Show's mean boss is Johnson, and while he's not as outwardly angry or hostile as Benson, instead takes a much more Darwinian approach to this trope, using his power and wealth to get what he wants and exert control over those beneath him, such as when he offers Jez 530 pounds to sleep with his girlfriend, or when he orders Mark to be the one to fire his ex-wife. Through all of this, he acts as an opposing force to the main characters. Smiling Friends actually subverts this trope by having the boss be a nice, friendly person, such as when he offers to pay for the hotel and Smiling Friends go to Brazil, or when he stops the Frowning Friends. The mean boss archetype is important to the dynamic of the duo, because it offers them a good, consistent antagonist. The final aspect that's important in a good duo is what they really think of each other. Do they act hostile but are really good friends? Do they only work colleagues and don't interact with each other when they don't have to? Do they secretly hate each other? Here again we can contrast and compare. In the final for Regular Show, we skip ahead about 20 years and see Mordecai and Rigby sharing a soda, reminiscing at their past days at the park. Contrast this to the ending of Peep Show, where Mark and Jez are defeated, resorting to drinking and watching TV, with these last lines.
Ah, we do love each other, really.
I simply must get rid of him.
So pretty much the main draw is going to be having them view the same situation differently. The most important aspects are how they view each other, how they view the world, how other characters view them, and if they really like each other or not. Yeah, pretty much. Wow, it's really beautiful, man. But I think it was your turn to clean, so you should. I'm kicking you out.